All right. So here is in class two extension where we're talking about the uh, slider crank inversions, or just a slider inversion. The first one you should show here is your standard crank slider, where we turn link two, and it has a connecting rod, a coupler three, and it drives piston four. I mean, that's just basically what we usually have. All right, so we can make this a little more interesting by making first that crank. What we had is the crank right there. Two, make that the ground, and now both three and one can rock back and forth. And there's sort of this shows it as having sort of a limitation. I think I'm able to actually make it go 360, but we'll see here in a second. All right, so let's take a look at two, condition two in a moment. Condition three, what we've done is we made the coupler right here, made that the ground, and so this I almost think of this as sort of like a pump, right? Where we're kind of like um, we're reciprocating part one back and forth through a slot right here, and this collar turns just a slight amount as this happens, and then lastly we have made the ground, this plunger or the collar, the ground, and now this piece can move back and forth, and one reciprocates in there. So let's take a look and see if we can see these. Here is what Norton has. I think they're a little messy, could being on top of each other. It gets a little confusing. So let's try them out right here. Okay, I think this guy is your standard one right there. Okay, so this is not an inversion. This is the actual piece right there. This one has that crank right fixed, but you can notice that at least in mine, it can do a full. It could rotate all the way around. There's nothing stopping it. This guy, he has that collar. I mean the coupler is uh, is is fixed, so it can like go back around that way. And here's the final one right here. Interesting, right? This piece moves right into there and there. I think. Let me see which one. There was one of these is the standard thing that gets used later on. I'm going to check that here in a moment. Um, Let me get out of this and open up the book. I don't have the book open right here. So let me go to my books and open it up and show you what I mean by the standard thing. Like, okay, there is a piece that we study later on, or at least the book has many different more examples of it in later chapters. So if you go to chapter 3 of the book, you'll see this inversion. It doesn't do any of the other inversions, so they're not really all that important. I mean, we don't really see them again. Let's see. Let's close up chapter 1, close up chapter 2, close up chapter 2. All right, let's go to the back of chapter 3, and we will see problems. All right, so when we're checking out the problems, don't make me a liar. It's going to make me a liar. So we have to go to chapter 4. Sorry, those are where the problems are. The problems in chapter 4 made me a liar. Dirty, filthy liar. All right, so okay, so if you look, here's your problems about the 4-bar. Here's the problems about the crank, slider crank, and then there's this other guy. And that's what that's the thing, what we care about. So we have a crank that's rotating around. So it's inversion number 3 of the 4-bar linkage that we care about. Like there's no, so here's the 5-bar. They don't care. They don't cover any other ones. It's just the third inversion of the crank slider. So when we're looking onto this, it's this guy right here, that right there as we're moving back and forth. And what they do is they put an offset onto that. right? So because they're so like they've offset this thing isn't down here anymore onto the piece. It's offset away from there. So they do various things. And what I also think associate this was is with the quick return, because this does have a quick return nature of the fact. It's really what you could say is when that halfway, well, no, let me think about this. Halfway through the motion of the thing takes more of an angle than the other way. And because it's so, when this thing is rotating at a constant RPM, it makes this motion faster in one direction than it does in the other. I know that's not really quite clear, but that's what it means to be a quick return mechanism. And so that's one of the things that we will see in these pieces. So let's see. Do we have a? So I think let's see. Their third inversion. Yeah, they're calling this inversion 3. All right. So I guess the first one is called inversion 1. So this is sort of like the piece right there, right? Except so this is what that thing will look like if we cover it. I have been leaving it out so that we would make room for other things in that chapter, in the chapter 4, because there's a lot of content in there, and so I don't need to cover everything. But this would be that piece right there. Let's see. Do I have anything else in here? I did mention that there's another book that I thought had really good potential, and I have used some of the content right here. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I believe it's Stanizik. That's what I usually call. This is a gentleman, professor from Notre Dame, and it's a pretty good book. Doesn't cover as much of the as things in Norton that I think are important, so I'm sticking with Norton. But this is has helped me out a lot. All right, so that's all we have for today, and not a long video. Hopefully, maybe it'll be useful to someone. I hope. Talk to you soon.